Hello and very warm welcome at Amish Shackle 5858. I am Amish Shackle. Following news have been reported by American, European, Asian, African, Australian news channels and the news agencies. So please let's go to the headlines.
Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. In the Gaza Strip, witnesses say Israeli forces again opened fire on a crowd of Palestinians this morning as they gathered at a humanitarian aid site in the southern city of Rafah, killing at least 27 people, wounding more than 90 others. Witnesses described a chaotic scene as Palestinian families moved toward a distribution site operated by the U.S.-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation and suddenly came under attack by Israeli soldiers and quadcopter drones. Most of the wounded were reportedly struck in the head and chest.
Hunger killed us, hunger slaughtered us. O world, have mercy on us. O world, have mercy on us. For the sake of elderly women, for the sake of the widows, for the sake of the children, we are all hungry. We are all dying of hunger, dying of hunger. The children cry, the women cry, the widows cry. No one has mercy on anyone. We are all hungry. We are all hungry.
Tonight, breaking news, rescues underway as flash floods hit the heartland. Wichita underwater, cars submerged, people abandoning them in the middle of the road as rescuers try to pull them from safety in the driving rain. The overturned tractor trailer snarling a major highway, and now the new tornado threat. We're tracking it all. The terror attack in Boulder, the suspect in custody, now his wife and kids are being held by ICE as well. The White House threatening to deport them as soon as tonight. The police chief telling us the suspect kept making hateful rants even after being detained for the gruesome attack. The fight over the big, beautiful bill turns ugly. Elon Musk, a top Trump ally, calling the president's giant budget plan, quote, pork-filled and a disgusting abomination. The brutal hotel surveillance video that drew focus to Diddy even before his trial. The dramatic story told in court, including a brown paper bag filled with $100,000 in cash, plus why a woman was physically removed from the trial when she was screaming. The warning to keep an eye on your devices. When R. Ellison Barber's iPhone was stolen, it showed up at a kiosk that pays cash. How she got it back and what you should know if it happens to you. The zebra on the loose just one day after its new owners brought it home. Now sightings are popping up all over Tennessee. Nightly News starts right now.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Yamas. On this Tuesday night, double trouble. U.S. tariffs are set to double on Canadian steel and aluminum in just hours. The last-minute negotiations to stop the hike.
It was, we think, a positive conversation.
Beefing up border security.
This is about delivering a win for Canada.
The new powers for border officers, postal workers, police, and even Health Canada. Intensifying wildfires across the prairies, amplifying calls for more help. They need federal resources. Otherwise, there's going to be a lot of people that are homeless. Plus, unforgettable adventure.
The dogs have impeccable survival skills.
The tale of the pup who vanished for 36 days, only to be found at sea.
Global National with Donna Friesen. Reporting tonight, Eric Sorensen.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Canada is once again facing new and deeply punishing tariffs. U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order doubling tariffs on steel and aluminum imports.
An ugly turn for Trump's big, beautiful bill.
Musk blasts it as a disgusting abomination.
From CBS News headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News.
Good evening, I'm Maurice Dubois.
I'm John Dickerson.
The president, who prides himself on making deals, is having trouble reaching any on tariffs with America's trading partners.
And he's facing a new obstacle now to another deal, getting Congress to pass his massive tax cut and spending bill, the one he calls the big, beautiful bill.
Elon Musk, the president's friend, ally, and sometimes advisor, today posted another less flattering description of the bill. He called it a massive, outrageous, pork-filled, disgusting abomination.
And if that wasn't enough to get members to vote against it, Musk added, in November next year, we fire all politicians who betrayed the American people.
Nancy Cordes is at the White House. So, Nancy, let's start with the president's attempts to get tariff deals here.
Well, Maurice, the promise of 90 deals in 90 days has not materialized yet. So in a bid to move things along, the U.S. trade rep is sending a letter to some trading partners urging them to make their best offers now.
The ramifications of ending the war now.
Democratic and Republican mayors weigh in on the nation's worsening housing crisis.
And a former staffer from Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency breaks his silence, describing confusion and the effort to dismantle the federal workforce.
It was unclear who was in charge. At the end of the day, I guess Trump is in charge. But I think Doge will sort of continue to do what it was doing.
Why you don't hate the media enough.
A bitter hack is on the attack tonight on why you don't hate the media enough. Little-known podcaster Chuck Todd is back with even more BS and even less hair. Now he's claiming Donald Trump is responsible for his tires getting slashed. I'm serious. Roll it, Lars.
I dealt with it in the first term with him and other reporters. There was direct correlation, right? He'd call your name out. You'd get, weird phone calls. You'd get weird death threats. I got my tires slashed in front of my house. He views it as, it's good publicity. Like I don't think he's doing it to create a security problem for these people. But the reality is, Maddie, it creates a security problem.
You mean like the security problem Democrats created for Trump with their hateful rhetoric? They labeled him an existential threat. They compared him to Mussolini and Hitler, even after he survived 2 assassination attempts. So yeah, we're sorry about your tires, Chuck. Oh, poor me. But maybe Chuck's still angry that the media got caught hiding Biden's decline. I wonder, is there almost an eagerness to blame the press?
There's almost an eagerness to blame the press without looking at who should be blamed here, and it's the leadership and, frankly, the members of the Biden administration and the leadership of the Democratic Party, who they're the ones that lied. Look, at the end of the day, no journalist is as good as their sources. At the end of the day, the Democratic Party lied to the American people. The leadership of the party lied to the American people. And that's where this scandal should be centered.
The Dems did lie to the American people, but it wasn't the sources that led the media astray. It was the media's own acceptance of the lie. As if all that's required from the media is to believe their sources, to not be skeptical, to not trust their ears and eyes when Biden wanders into the jungle mumbling to himself. It's quite the confession, saying...
New figures from the Home Office show that the Rwanda deportation scheme was working.
But the government continues to blame good weather for the rise in record migrant arrivals.
Now the Home Secretary is promising digital IDs to track and deport more illegal migrants.
German police enter the second day of the biggest search for Madeleine McCann since 2008, as fears grow that the main suspect in the case, Christian Bruckner, could be released from prison in the next few months.
Swipe left for shorter men. Dating app Tinder introduces a height feature. Would you qualify? Would you pass? Should it be a dating deal breaker?
Hearsay legend Suzanne Shaw opens up about her drastic career change and why she's left showbiz for good. Here's a taster ahead of that interview at 9:15 this morning.
I have failed so many times in my life, in business, in parenthood, in relationships. Sometimes I even look back at those failures and I feel really embarrassed.
And this morning, the Lionesses lose to world champion Spain as Frank Kirby announces her international retirement. England beat the West Indies again for a clean sweep in the one-day series and go there on their bicycles, by the way. And good news for Manchester United as Bruno Fernandes says no to Saudi Arabia and £700,000 a week.
Hello there, good morning. A day of sunshine and scattered showers is ahead, but is there any chance of some drier spells of weather? Well, stay tuned and I'll have all the details.
Hello there, very good morning to you on this Wednesday morning. Thanks for watching and listening. I'm Eamon Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
This is Asia Now.
It's 12
p.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong, 9:30 in New Delhi, and 11 o'clock in Jakarta. I'm Paul Singh. At this hour, Lee Jae-myung sworn in as South Korea's new president after winning a decisive victory in snap polls. He warns that trade protectionism poses a threat to the country's survival. China urges the World Trade Organization to enhance oversight on unilateral tariffs. This comes as Donald Trump raises steels and aluminium levies to 50%. At the US-backed Gaza aid group holds distributions over security concerns. Outrage has been growing following reports of attacks and more deaths near collection points.
Good morning, everyone. It's 6 o'clock. Our top story. Aid distribution centres in Gaza closed, with Israel warning that the roads leading to them are combat zones. Plus, Chancellor Rachel Reeves pledges £15 billion for transport in the north. We'll hear from her later, live this morning. It's Wednesday, the 4th of June, coming up. Chaos, confusion and killing. It's people to stay away from aid distribution centres today. Huge spending decisions for Chancellor Reeves is expected to announce more money for transport in a major speech later this morning. With a special report with the doctors and nurses struggling to cope with a surge in mental health patients at A&E.
Reinforced doors, and so that they do lock. There are obviously two doors, so there is a method of escape for staff if needed to be.
The family of a British man who went missing on a stag do a week ago tells Sky News they're sick. And in sport, Manchester United captain Bruno Fernandes turns down mega bucks from Saudi Arabia to stay at Old Trafford. We know Jamaican A.
Walking with Dinosaurs continues Tuesday on ABC and ABC iView. Today, the housemate of missing Queensland teenager Phoebe Bishop arrested over her disappearance. Tasmanian Premier Jeremy Ross fighting for his political future with the no confidence motion garnering crossbench support.
I will fight for my last breath to ensure that we remain in government.
Aid pause in Gaza. Israel declares all roads to distribution centres are combat zones. Accused triple murderer Erin Patterson details in court how she prepared the deadly lunch. And the chances of a July rate cutting as economic growth slows. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Rose Childs. A Queensland man is in custody and is assisting police in their investigations into the disappearance of teenager Phoebe Bishop. The 17-year-old has not been seen since May the 15th when she failed to board a flight at Bundaberg Airport as planned.
Hello and a very warm welcome if you're just joining us. Break here on 24. These are the headlines. South Korea's new president promises to be pragmatic, to revive the country's economy, reunite it, and also open up talks with neighbouring North Korea. Lee Jae-myung sworn in after taking almost 50% of the vote in yesterday's elections. We'll be crossing live to on it in Seoul in just a few minutes. The 4 aid distribution sites in Gaza closed this Wednesday. The Israeli army warning Palestinians not to use the roads leading to those centres, as they say they are combat zones. 60 people were killed as they tried to get vital food, as the Israeli army opened fire on the sites for 3 days in a row. And repeating his clear criticism of the president's plans, Elon Musk says Donald Trump's proposed tax breaks and spending cuts are an abomination. They would see subsidies his car maker Tesla curtailed. Glad you could join us. Well, also coming up, an investigation by Wired magazine finds that America's agriculture industry has been leading a covert campaign to discredit animal rights activists. It fed information to the FBI, painting them as bioterrorists. Lindsay Gadava will be telling us more in today's press review.
Former South African President Jacob Zuma's graft case was back in court in Pietermaritzburg on Tuesday. Zuma and French company Thales are facing charges including corruption, money laundering and racketeering that date back to a 1999 multi-billion rand arms deal. Together they'd applied to have all charges against them dropped in the long-running case. But the ruling did not go in their favour. A High Court judge dismissed their summary acquittal applications. Zuma and Thales had claimed that repeated delays in their case and the death of 2 witnesses had irreparably prejudiced their right to a fair trial. But the judge said that while he did not want to apportion blame, the state had argued that the delays were largely caused by Zuma and to a lesser degree Thales. The case is now being postponed to the 4th of December, and the state will apply for the trial to proceed regardless of any appeals launched by either of the parties.
Mali has suspended artisanal gold mining activities from June to September to protect workers from landslides during the rainy season, the Malian Mines Ministry said on Tuesday. The ministry said meteorological services have forecast heavy rains from June 15th to September 30th. Authorities said safety reasons motivated the decision. In March, the Malian government suspended the granting of new artisanal mining permits to foreigners after 2 accidents killed dozens of people. Artisanal mining in West Africa has increased in recent years due to growing demand and rising prices. But deadly accidents are frequent as artisanal miners often use old-fashioned and unregulated methods of digging. Illegal mining also increases safety risks. Mali's gold production was estimated at around 51 metric tons, a 23% drop from the year. The country remains one of Africa's main gold producers.
Sudan's civil war reached a devastating milestone, the United Nations is warning, with more than 4 million people fleeing the country. More than 8,000 have crossed into neighbouring Chad since the outbreak of fighting in April 2023, joining some 400 Sudanese refugees who had fled earlier waves of conflict in Darfur. In 2025, following violent attacks by armed groups in North Darfur. In just over a month, more than 68,000 refugees have arrived in Chad, Wadi Fira and NAS province, with an average 1,400 people crossing the border every day. The United Nations Refugee Agency is now asking for more than $550 million to help the displaced population, warning that just 14% of current needs are being met. Refugees currently only receive 5 litres of water a day, well below the international standard of 15 to 20 litres of basic needs. Hundreds of thousands remain stranded at the border.
Cameroon is now the world's most neglected displacement crisis, according to an annual listing by the Norwegian Refugee Council released on Tuesday. The NGO ranked the 10 most neglected displacement crises in 2024 based on 3 criteria: lack of humanitarian funding, lack of media attention, and a lack of effective political initiatives. Cameroon tops the list for the first time since 2019, overtaking Burkina Faso. Cameroon hosts more than 1 million internally displaced people. Civilians in the country's northwest region have suffered violent clashes between state security forces and separatist groups since 2016. The situation forced hundreds of thousands to flee. Lake Basin in Cameroon's far north is also the theatre of a protracted conflict with non-state armed groups. Violence and water scarcity in the area have driven displacement. But Cameroon also welcomes nearly 500,000 refugees from neighbouring countries, mostly the Central African Republic and Nigeria. Council said Cameroon's crisis was both underreported and underfunded. Overall, 8 African countries made the list of the world's most neglected displacement crises, including Ethiopia, Mali and the DRC.
A Reuters poll of analysts found that Egypt's annual headline inflation is forecast to have increased further in May. The state statistics agency CAPMAS is expected to release latest figures on Wednesday, 6 days earlier than usual. This is due to the 3-day Muslim holiday Eid al-Adha, which gets underway at sunset on Thursday. The median forecast of the 12 analysts suggests annual urban consumer inflation will have risen 14.9% in May, up from 13.9% in April. This is primarily due to an unfavourable base effect, with some residual impact from energy price hikes in mid-April. The increase on a range of fuel products by up to almost 15% was in line with commitments sought by the International Monetary Fund.
Thank you very much for giving time to Amish Shackle 5858. I am Amish Shackle. Have a good life. Bye-bye.